You're outside. The sky goes white. And for half a second, you don't hear anything. Just silence, like the world forgot to breathe. Then the shockwave hits. And if you're still standing after that, congratulations. Your life just became a countdown. Radiation, firestorms, collapsing buildings, poisoned air. Everything is now trying to kill you, fast or slow, violently or quietly. And you don't have a bunker, no lead-lined shelter, no steel door. Just you, your clothes, whatever is around you and the choices you make in the next minutes. The good news? You can still survive this. The bad news? If you do nothing, you won't. So start moving. You don't look directly at the flash. If you did, you're already half blind, and that blindness will get you killed. That light was hotter than the surface of the sun, and it just painted the world in shadows that are going to matter a lot. The shadow of a mailbox might have saved a patch of asphalt. The shadow of a wall might have protected your skin. If you feel heat burning your face and arms, check fast. First and second degree burns are common if you were in line of sight. Burns open you up to infection later. Infection kills long after the blast is over. But the burns aren't your biggest problem. The shockwave is coming. Depending on how far you are, 1 mile, 2 miles, 5, the blast wave travels at hundreds of kilometers per hour. It's going to rip glass from windows, throw debris like supersonic knives, and pick up cars like children's toys. You don't outrun it. You don't win against it. You survive it by not being in its path. Drop, cover, behind anything heavy. A concrete wall, the corner of a building, a sunken ditch. Even the engine block of a car is better than nothing. Your first instinct will be to look, stand, run. Don't. That shockwave can break your ribs, collapse your lungs, and slam you into a wall hard enough to turn your own skeleton into shrapnel. Get low. Cover your head. Protect your lungs by exhaling slightly so the pressure difference doesn't burst them. If you're still alive after the blast wave passes, you will hear it. A rolling, long, monstrous sound, like the sky itself cracking open. That's your signal. Get up. Now the real clock starts. Fallout. The invisible snow that melts your DNA. People fear the explosion. They should fear the dust. Fallout is radioactive debris sucked into the mushroom cloud and dropped back to Earth. It can travel for kilometers, carried by wind, shaped by geography. And you don't get a second chance with it. The first hour after the blast is when fallout is strongest, and the places where it lands are death zones. You need shelter, not a bunker. You don't have one. But anything with mass between you and the outside will help. Dirt is good, concrete is better, brick is okay. Even wood buys you time. Think layers, think density, think survival. But before you take cover, you need to know one thing: where the fallout is going. Look at the wind. Look at the direction debris is floating. Look at smoke trails. The wind determines life and death now. If you're downwind of the blast, you must move crosswind immediately, 90 degrees. Don't walk directly away from the explosion. That path is a radioactive conveyor belt. Your goal is simple. Get inside the nearest structurally sound building that is not on fire, is not collapsing, and is not directly coated in dust. Basements are best. Interiors of large buildings come next. Even parking garages can work, but you are not hiding from people. You are hiding from particles so small they float like air and kill like knives. And when you enter a shelter, you do not track fallout inside with you. Strip. Yeah, strip. Your clothes are probably covered with microparticles of radioactive dust. Remove them before entering your shelter. Place them in a sealed bag or leave them outside. Do not shake them. Do not brush them inside. If you have water, rinse exposed skin quickly. Don't scrub. Scrubbing forces particles deeper. Think gentle. Think fast. Think, I don't want glowing sand stuck on me. Once you're inside, put as much material between you and the outside walls as you can. Books, furniture, boxes, mattresses, dirt-filled containers, even water jugs. Water is excellent shielding. Stack everything you can. Every centimeter cuts your exposure. Now stay put. The outside world is poison for the next several hours. Your biggest enemy now is time. And your own brain. Panic is lethal here. So is boredom. So is curiosity. People die because they think they're just checking. You don't check the outside. You don't peek. You don't open doors to see if it's clearing. Fallout doesn't clear that fast. The most dangerous particles fall within the first hour, but they stay deadly for 24 hours. The radiation intensity drops by about half every 7 hours, but half of lethal is still lethal. So you wait. But waiting isn't the same as doing nothing. You need to think ahead. If the building you're in is damaged, listen carefully. Groaning beams, cracking concrete, shifting weight. If the structure is compromised, you have a new problem. Collapse. Inside a collapsing building full of fallout outside, that's a nightmare scenario. But you solve it the same way you solve everything. Prioritize the thing that kills you fastest. A collapsing ceiling kills you now. Radiation kills you later. Choose later. Evacuate with purpose. Move to a sturdier shelter quickly, while trying not to breathe outside air. Cover your mouth and nose with anything, a shirt, a towel, even multiple layers of paper. It won't stop radioactive particles completely, but it reduces how many you inhale. And that might be the difference between living and slowly dissolving from inside. Keep your eyes down. Avoid touching anything dusty. Avoid puddles. Fallout settles in water. Move fast but smart. When in doubt, choose structures with thick walls and basements. Once you're sheltered again, seal cracks with anything available. Clothing, tape, plastic bags, furniture fabric. Airflow brings dust. Dust brings death. As hours pass, dehydration becomes your next enemy. Your mouth dries, your head aches, your thinking gets cloudy, and you're tempted to drink whatever you have immediately. Don't. You might be stuck for a full day. Ration. If you have no water at all, don't risk going outside in the first 6 hours unless the building is collapsing or burning. Those first hours are the peak radiation window. Going outside for just a minute could dose you with enough gamma radiation to tear apart your bone marrow. After about 24 hours, levels drop dramatically, roughly tenfold, and short trips become safer. But you're not safe yet. The blast knocked out infrastructure. Power is gone. Water lines may be contaminated. Hospitals won't help you. They're overwhelmed or destroyed. Emergency services? Don't count on them. You are your own survival system now. Once enough time has passed, ideally 24 to 48 hours, you can make a controlled move outdoors. Cover every inch of skin. Long sleeves, gloves if you have them. Improvised mask. Anything to reduce particle contact. Step outside like you're walking into a room filled with invisible blades. Avoid dust clouds. Avoid anything that looks ashy or powdery. The safest path is the cleanest looking one. Untouched concrete, rain-washed surfaces, interior hallways of partially intact buildings. Your goal now is distance. You need to move away from the blast zone entirely. Radiation decreases dramatically with distance. 10 kilometers is good, 20 is better, and yes, that's a long walk, especially dehydrated, sleep-deprived, and terrified. But your alternatives are worse. The first night will be the hardest. No shelter means exposure. No warmth means hypothermia. No clean water means dehydration. And exhaustion makes you stupid. Stupidity is fatal. You look for shelter that isn't dusty, isn't cracked, and isn't likely to catch fire. Interior rooms of abandoned buildings, underground structures, even overpasses, anything with mass above or around you. But avoid basements filled with debris or water. Floodwater in these zones can be heavily contaminated. You're not trying to build a home. You're buying time. Time for the radiation to fade. Time to move farther. Time to find other survivors. Time to not die. At some point, you'll start thinking about food. That's good. It means you're stabilizing. But don't make the rookie mistake of eating outdoors or touching food with contaminated hands. Wash or wipe everything thoroughly. If packaging is dusty, clean it before opening. Canned food is your best friend now. Water is trickier. Rivers and lakes near the blast zone will collect fallout. Boiling does not remove radiation. Let me repeat that. Boiling does nothing for radioactive particles. Filtering helps if you use a proper filter. Not a t-shirt, not a coffee filter. If you don't have one, collect rainwater. That is the safest option in the early days. Rain can temporarily scrub fallout from the air, but it can also bring fallout down harder in the first few hours. After the initial fallout period passes, rainwater becomes far safer than surface water. Your brain will nag you bats. How long do I have to live like this? The answer is longer than you want, shorter than you fear. Most deadly fallout loses the majority of its intensity in the first 48 hours. After a week, outside radiation can be surprisingly survivable in many areas. The world won't be normal, but you'll be alive. And in a nuclear scenario, that alone makes you statistically rare. Let's rewind for a second, because all of this, every choice, every action, every breath, comes down to one truth. Surviving a modern nuclear strike without a bunker isn't about perfection. It's about not making the wrong fatal decision when it counts. You don't chase supplies in the first hour. You don't watch the mushroom cloud like it's a movie. You don't walk through dust. You don't panic and run toward open streets. You don't assume rescue is coming. You think. You prioritize. You adapt. Radiation is ruthless but predictable. Fire burns, but it burns where fuel exists. Humans are dangerous, but desperate people are logical in their own twisted way. Everything in this new world follows rules. Deadly rules, but rules you can use. Your job is simple. Stay ahead of the next threat, and the next one, and the one after that. If you keep moving when it's time to move and keep hiding when it's time to hide, you might just outlive the chaos. You didn't have a bunker. You didn't have lead walls. You didn't have specialized training. But you had awareness. You had timing. You had the will to not freeze when the world did. And when the sky went white, you didn't die. And when the dust fell, you didn't surrender. And when the world burned, you stayed sharp. Because survival isn't luck. Survival is pressure. And what you do under it. And you? You did exactly what you needed to. You lived.